Checking connection. You're not alive.
Happy New Year, y'all. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy 2021.
Yeah, so we're going to, welcome to the Gemini show. We're going to wait for people to join the room.
Do y'all want me to tell y'all when somebody come in?
Yeah, we
Live pronoun.
Yeah, sure.
Nurse Nisi.
Oh, that's the daughter again.
Oh, okay.
My daughter again. Welcome, girl.
So, Joanne, how was your holiday?
Holiday was great. Holiday was
Seen each
incredible. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Okay.
Actually took a trip to Mexico.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it
How
was
was
great.
that?
That was amazing. How
That's
about
cool.
yourself? What'd you do?
All the holidays were pretty quiet. When did we last see each other, right? We saw each other after Thanksgiving, but before Christmas. It was December.
Yep.
Okay,
December.
so Christmas. It was quiet. It was a quiet holiday. I did drive to Florida and got COVID tested when I got back, y'all. Met up with my brother there. So that was it.
That's what's up.
So we're just waiting a few more minutes. Let people join the room. We are if you guys join, please feel free to comment, ask questions. We want to engage with you all. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you're feeling, all that good stuff.
Yep, and don't forget to click follow, click likes,
Share with people. Share the videos.
share the posts.
Jada D Baby just joined.
What's up, Jada? What's good?
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to everybody that's supporting the Gemini show. We're happy to have you. Glad that you could join us. We want to get interactive because we want this to be something where, although we having a conversation, we want you to feel like you can come in and join our conversation.
My mom said hello.
Like, we just, what?
She said my mother said hello.
Miss Monica joined.
Yeah, shout your moms out. Word, shout your moms out.
Thanks for joining, y'all. Thank y'all for joining. We're about to get started here in a few minutes. We just want to give people an opportunity to join. Happy New Year. Welcome back, 2021. Oh my goodness.
Feeling good.
Yeah, New Year.
You know what I'm saying?
Changes, growth. What's up?
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Yeah. So it's always good to look forward to newness. I think that's something about humanity, our ability to have something new, to have hope that we can have different, we can have better.
Yeah.
So New Year's are always great times.
It's a time to reflect for sure. It's a time to reflect. All right, so it's 7:03. We want to go ahead and get started. Thank y'all for joining. Happy New Year again.
So what up? I am the GemStarr.
And I'm Ayanna.
And this is the Gemini Show. Thanks for joining us. It's 2021. And what's our topic today, MJ?
Relationships.
Stay
or go.
2021. Stay or go.
Stay or go.
That's so absolute. So, the new year is a time when I like to reflect, when I like to take inventory of things that I've done, and just, review, see where I am in my life, see, whether or not I need to make some changes, stay or go.
Mm-hmm.
But, so, I think relationships are one of those big aspects of evaluating.
Mm-hmm.
Because relationships are tied to probably your closest emotions,
Mm-hmm.
And when your emotions are invoked, that could affect all parts of your life, your physical being, your spiritual being.
Right.
So today we're going to talk about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Stay or go.
And that's all relationships. Like you said, it could be anything. It could be, as you were saying relationships, I was even thinking your employment situation, as you're evaluating, that may be a relationship. You may want to change the interactions you have with your boss, your coworkers, your colleagues, anything. But yeah,
so one relationship that, I'll share something personal. My daughters, You know, I have twin daughters. They're 23 years old.
Okay.
And over the holiday, I believe we had some really good breakthroughs.
That's awesome.
You know, where we had a lot of friction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we got to the point where we started to listen to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is one of the most essential elements of a relationship. The ability to listen, to understand somebody else.
Communication, I always say, is like, that's a foundation. Like, you just have to have good communication for any relationship.
But when we say good, what do we mean good? Like, what's in that bowl of good?
You're right.
Good communication.
Good communication. What does that entail? Listening. Listening for understanding.
Hearing or listening?
Listening, actually receiving. Because again, what you you have to make sure your intent, what you say, and then what they receive is actually what you meant for them to receive.
That's what's up.
How different is that when you're raising an adult child?
Oh, whew. And it's funny
listening.
you say that, because as she was talking, I was in there saying, like, yeah, that sounds good, textbook. But when it comes down to practical, hands-on, yeah, because I think...
Don't get me started. Go ahead.
I think I think a lot of times there's more than just that surface conversation. I think sometimes there's underlining background threads of stuff from the past, experiences, programming, and things like that come into play. It's almost like, I don't think we realize that we have layers.
Right.
You know, and although you're communicating at the top layer right now in the present moment, you got layers under that.
For sure.
Fights, arguments, you know what I'm saying? Or love. It could be positive too.
Right. No, so stay or go, right? Relationships 2021, stay or go. You talked about adult children and you talked about communication. So in this time, sharing a story, I have a 23-year-old son who is back. So I got a new edition at 23. A new edition in the time of COVID. So that's, that's different, because it's like we're all in the house more often, right? We're not doing that. So now the energy that you bring from outside and this communication, whew, child.
So what are some of your challenges?
I mean, as soon he shuts down immediately. So as soon as I start to talk, I don't even want to imitate him. On
Yeah, he gonna get you.
On this side, I know. Okay. No, but you're not even listening to what I'm saying. You're saying, okay, can you please listen to what I am trying to say to you?
How do you know he's not listening just because he's saying okay? What does okay mean? I'm not listening?
I mean, it's the shutdown of, can you shut the fuck up? Because, girl, I am not listening to you. I don't even want to hear what you are saying. I'm not listening. I'm not really going to listen.
So that's the message you're receiving.
Yeah. So,
I mean, how do you deal with that?
we're working on...
Do you stay or do you go?
Well, in this case, he's here to stay. I'm ready to go.
Mentally.
Exactly. But it's a mental thing. It's I'm working to stay because this is my son, right? This is my black male son in these times. And that is a relationship that I'm his mother always. And I have to make sure that I got his back, because support is what people need. So until he is listening, I'm going to keep talking. And I just have to figure out how to get through to him to communicate in a way that he's able to receive it.
Yeah.
So we have a comment from Miss Monty Lowe.
Okay.
Says, yes, I have a 23-year-old back in my home who believes her BSW has earned her the right to run my household. Anybody getting those kind of feelings when they feel like they're good and grown?
But I can say, it's a different generation. So, I had to realize that it's definitely not the generation that raised me. That generation didn't take no.
Yeah,
Like the
that's
stuff that we
yeah.
say, the stuff that they say to us now. What?
Right.
Yo, like you couldn't even get the full word out before you just get mad tumps to the head, yo. But
right, yeah. So that gets deep because you learn, right? So I am the way that my children may get away with things. I think to myself, are you fucking crazy? There's no way in hell this would not have been going okay. You know what I'm saying? And it really comes out more with my grandchild, but that's another story because I'm a more patient person. But I think like these what we tolerated, or what our parents tolerated and what we tolerated is different.
very.
But in some ways, our children, because we are more patient, it does create better communication because our children talk to us more.
Yeah, I do.
Communicate with us more because we didn't shut them
And they
down.
don't fear us the way we feared our parents.
Exactly.
It's almost like, to me, it's almost like that residual slavery mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to whoop you
Right.
until you do what I say.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that was parenting.
Exactly.
I'm going to whoop you until you do what I say. And I'm going to keep whooping you until you do what there is no other. I'm going to whoop you until you do what I say.
Right. So.
I think now we just need more of a balance.
For sure. So, relationships 2021. Do you stay or do you go?
So anybody out there contemplating right now? Do you stay? Do you go? We love to hear from you.
So I have a question. What about the ability to give children agency? I feel like you have to allow children to have agency so they learn how to advocate for themselves.
Again, I think it's with balance. You can give them a certain amount of advocacy, and I think you also give that balance of understanding that there are consequences to all your actions.
So I didn't understand that statement or the question. You said agency or
advocacy. Like let them speak up for themselves, kind of thing.
So,
right.
So
that when they're out someplace alone and doing their thing and somebody confronts them, they'll know how to protect themselves or speak up for themselves.
I feel
So
like
no
this-
one takes advantage of them.
Yeah.
Don't take their voice away.
Hopefully I got that right, GT 8813.
So I think it's
Let me know if I didn't.
I think it's a combination of both. I think again that goes into the way that we have allowed our children to speak. I think these children speak up for themselves.
Yeah.
I think they are definitely more vocal. I know when my daughter was in school, she would have problems with the teachers. And again, so this goes back to how I was raised, right? Like I was raised the type that the teacher was always right. If the teacher called and then there was a problem, it was like I was just wrong, right? So in my mind, that's how I was raising my children, right? But my daughter was like, oh, no. She was like, just because they are a teacher or they're an adult, that doesn't mean they're right. They think just because they have the power, they can treat you a certain kind of way, but they have to respect you too. And I was like, that's true. Because sometimes people in power want to abuse their power just because they have the power. And you can't treat children because that way. So you can't treat people that way just because of that. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
So parent and child relationships, I think we got that. What about friendships? Are the dynamics of friendships change during these different kinds of times, or boundaries different? You know, as people grow and evolve, you know, how do your friendships look different, and how do you respond to those changes?
Well, I can speak personally that I have a philosophy of having 3 levels, 3-tier friendships. I have friendships with my peers, people on my level that do the things that I do. I have those who, you know, may not be on my level, but maybe I mentor them, I show them, I give them what I wish I had at their age. You know what I'm saying? And building my network on friends who, you know, are doing better than me. They're in places where I want to be. So I gotta have my 3-tier friendship, you know, and that's my 2021 goals. 2021 goals, no resolutions, goals.
Yeah, I'm not a big resolution person. So.
What about you? You had to cut anybody off? I had to cut a couple of strings in 2020.
I think my relationships are pretty narrow anyway. Like I don't have I have good friends and I have associates, but yeah, I didn't have anything in 2021 where I felt like I needed to cut any relationships. My relationships that were, I think 2020 helped that because during COVID, you weren't talking to people. The people I want to talk to, I'm talking, you know, I'm communicating with. The people I'm not are the ones who probably I was already not speaking to that much in 2020 anyway with COVID. So
Jay, about the friendships that you had to cut, what was the final straw? Like, what happened that made you think?
So, you know,
you had to go.
One of the things I evaluate self. So I always make sure that I'm good. You know, I make sure that I'm mentally, spiritually, physically well first. So if I find if I see that there's more negativity or things are pulling away, things are taking me away, like, you know, causing me emotional stress, or, you know, just things that are not adding to my life. If it's not adding to my life, then it has to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, it's okay to be challenging.
Right.
But again, when it feels like more of the time you're going through unnecessary. That's the thing, the unnecessary stuff. Especially you're supposed to be an adult, you know.
Right. So I think for me, so obviously when I think of relationships, we were talking about family relationships, and I talked about like my son or that staying and going. Those relationships, yes, you can emotionally not be there or check out, but for my son, like obviously that's not an option. So when I think of staying, obviously I'm going to stay in that. But what I really think when we're talking about relationships and staying and going and the people out here is most people really analyze that when it comes to their romantic relationships, I think. Like, you know what I mean? That's where we really think about whether we should stay or go. I think with the new year, you know, healthy relationships, like when you analyze like what does 2021 look like? Well, we want to be healthy. We want to be healthy because COVID is out there, right? We want to be healthy emotionally, mentally. And so if we are thinking about these relationships, what relationships are you in right now that are mentally and emotionally good for you? And if we're not in those relationships, when is it time to leave those relationships? I see you have something to say.
Yeah, so we have a question from B. Jones, 202 DC. First of all, he does like your tiers of relationships. And
appreciate that.
So he asks, do you see those relationships coming back in the future as people change? They might move up or down, perhaps?
You know what? I'm an open person. I don't burn any bridges. You know, but again, it almost has to be, I allow things to flow. If things flow, if the river flows in that direction, then yeah, it's cool. You know, if it doesn't, it doesn't. It's all good. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't see it as anything that you would initiate?
Nah, I'll let it
Okay.
flow because it would have to be something. Again, for me to get to the point to have to do something about it, it would have to be something that's presented back to me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in a way that's beneficial for me. I let it go. Why would I go back and get it?
But
when you let something go, why are you going back to get it?
so when you let it go, though, is this letting go an understanding between you and the friend?
It could be.
Or, but are they?
Hmm?
But are they? For an example, whatever last friendship you felt like, this isn't working for me. Was there a thing come to Jesus moment where you said this is it, or you just stopped talking to him?
It could be either way. Specifically, like I said, it's been more than one instance where sometimes it just dissolves. It just, you stop speaking to people.
It just naturally
It
happens.
just naturally dissolves.
Okay. So it can naturally come back, perhaps.
Maybe.
Okay.
Again, I don't shut any doors.
Okay.
So,
But at the same time, I'm moving forward.
Okay.
I'm not doing this.
What are your thoughts about that, Ayanna?
I mean, so the tier thing
I'm not parallel parking.
Because he said he had 3 tiers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know that's what the question was for. So for me, I don't like. I never thought about my relationships and.
So when you think about because that was, since we're talking about different tiers, but like, are there any type of relationship where they used to be something and it could be something else? Whether it be with your friendships,
I mean, so for me, my friendships or relationships are usually like associates. Like, it's not tiers; it's more like associates, friendships.
So the theater, where you have your front row, your middle row, your back row.
Yeah, but then
People take priority in your life.
I mean, definitely, but no, associates is also the closeness or the connection. Like, I have people I talk to at work. They are my coworkers. They are my associates, right? They could be someone who's someone who knows a lot, who I network with, who could be. They could be in your tiers, but for me, they're just an associate. But then I have people who are my friends. Like, I have friends. You know what I'm saying? Then I have closer friends. Like, then that's where. And then in that, then you have someone you have an intimate relationship with. So I think in that, those people could fall into your tiers, but in mine, it's not necessarily a tier thing. But in someone mentioned about growth or cutting people off. I've had a relationship where actually I have a good friend who cut me off. I mean, it's not funny.
I wonder why. No, I'm joking.
No.
I'm joking. I'm joking. It's jokes, people. It's jokes.
I know it. I don't get. So no. So now I feel like I shouldn't even speak on the situation.
So I have a couple of comments.
So
I have a couple of comments that talks about friendships having seasons.
Seasons, reasons, or lifetime.
Or relationships, really, not
That's
just
what
friendships.
Seasons, reasons, or lifetime.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes. Miss Manilo mentioned that also.
I am a big believer in people come into your life. It could be a season, a reason, or a lifetime. So, and again, that could even be the associates. That could be, all of those things. So this could be our season of this. You know what I'm saying? Like this could be a reason. Like, you never know. And then you have those lifetime friends, your loves, your familiar relationships, all those things that could last forever. But there are times when you take a relationship for what it was, appreciate it, and move on. I know one thing that I will always say: every relationship I've ever had in my life, family, friendships, I appreciate and have gotten something from that interaction in that relationship and have grown. It was something that I learned from every single relationship I've ever had. Everyone.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's what's up. I mean, I believe that relationships, friendships, family ships,
right,
that these are all reflections of self. If you look deeply, you will see yourself in every person you know.
Well, I mean, I think because you are shaped by your experiences, and those experiences that you have with that person is, when you say it's part of self, it does become part of you, because there are things that you hear, whether, someone may have said something and you take that nugget of information and it may help shape you into another belief that you have when another conversation happens. So I do believe that.
So, as far as relationships, romantic relationships go, what are some things that personally for you guys, you can just kind of name some? Like, what are some things you think that are made you want to go?
Oh, go.
Oh, well, I mean, I think...
You don't have to be specific, but just in general.
Right.
No.
Things that have, sparked.
I'm probably a professional at this. For me. The single me. No. No. Some things that I have made me want to go. One of them is silly, actually. This is actually one of my silliest ones. So I was in a relationship and I just felt like he was a really nice guy. He was a great guy. He was raised by a single mother. And I'm a single mother, right? But I think his mother did a lot for him, so he didn't know to do certain things, right? Like no one told him to go rape. No one told him to go do things that like, oh, my son, no, you gonna go ahead and mow this little patch of lawn. You gonna go ahead and, you know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't make him do things. So he didn't know to do these things. But for me, I'm raising a son. I'm not about to raise, like, you don't know to do this. Like, you don't know to do this. And I felt like I was doing too much teaching. So then one time when I broke the, like, was like, I had cooked. And then I had done everything, cleaned the whole kitchen, and left like the counters dirty, and he didn't wipe off the counters. And I was like, if a grown man don't know to wipe off these counters, this is too much for me.
How old was he? Just curious.
We were in our 30s, like, 40,
Closer to 40, late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, it was a 40.
So basically, he didn't know his role as a man,
as a helper,
as a helpmate,
but as a, right, like
as a partner,
right? Because you don't, like, if you don't know those common things, like, you're a partner, right? And I know we all have roles, we all work, we all can clean, we all can contribute, but if you don't know the certain things to just...
Oh, question. So you guys were living together?
Yes.
Okay. So, I don't know. I guess one of the things I was thinking about was, maybe the decision to even move in with him before you got to know what kind of person he was.
Yeah, that can go deeper because, in his home, I felt like I like neat men. He was like a neat freak, but I think...
he was a neat freak when he had his own place.
Right.
And then when y'all lived together, you found out the true self.
Right.
Or the roles were different when he shared a space with someone.
Oh, was he doing raking when y'all...
he had an apartment and I had a house.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
So that I'm just saying, so it's little things that can make someone want to,
So, I have a comment, which is one of the things that I was going to pull up. And we had a comment that said, did y'all discuss each other's expectations?
So, that's funny. That the great question. Who asked that awesome question?
My good friend Gerard.
Okay, great question. I think that at that point we had not discussed certain roles in those details that I thought. But yeah, we had expectations of what we would contribute to the house. We would, you know what I mean? But no, we didn't say like cleaning up things or the yard things. We didn't list those.
So you had money expectations? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
But not gender role.
Or right,
role,
who would do this particular chore or who would do these type of things. Because to me, we're just working together. And my point is that if we're working together, you should know that you have to contribute something in that. But he didn't know those things. And I would just think that anyone who lives in a home with people would know that you have to contribute something.
But do you hear the things that you're saying? You're saying stuff like, he should know, and we didn't talk, But
I mean,
but people who know and the
But
common people are not common sense is not common. You have to speak. You have to talk specifically about these things. You cannot think in your head. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people do that.
No, that's fair. We have these conversations, and the expectation. You're right. We didn't list out the details of chores and roles of the house, but again, because we didn't list it, but seeing certain things. If he had a house with children and maintained a house, I would have the assumption that there were things.
Never assume.
That's
ever. In your relationships, never assume ever. Don't ever assume anything ever.
How would he know? Another comment from the same.
Yes. And,
how would he know if you never told him?
And how different men and women think. That alone should tell you never ever assume ever. We do not think like y'all at all. We don't think like y'all
at all.
So, Joanne, have you had any instances where you felt like you relearned the lesson that men and women are different?
Yes, definitely. What's the word for? I've had an advantage because I've kind of grew up around women, been around women my whole life. Like, I believe I understand a lot about women, but still have so much more to learn. I don't know. I would say that, I don't know.
You know women.
I mean,
tell us what you know about women.
So the question is,
tell us what you know about women.
What have you learned or relearned about the differences between how women are? Since you know women, there's some things that you know.
A lot of it comes from one, emotional expression point of view. That's huge. For a woman to express her emotions in the way that she wants to express them. I think that comes into conflict because a lot of times we as men, we are succinct. We like getting straight to the point. We don't like going around farmer's barn to get to how you feel. We care about how you feel.
You just want to get the solution.
But we want the facts, the exact details, and we want the finale. We want structure. We want your stories to have structure, and we want them to make sense. But again, that's just our thinking. Not saying it's right, and not saying the woman is wrong. We want more structured communication, where women tend to want more emotional expression communication.
So I feel like men want to just get to the solution. Like, how can they solve the problem? Like, they don't give much about the detail. Even they just want to know, what can I do? What do you want me to do?
If the details are significant,
what can I do to solve this problem?
Then yes, we need to know the details. But that have nothing to do with details that go off the topic, no, we don't.
Right. I feel like men will listen. They'll be sweet and listen to the emotional outburst, but if you were saving it for your friend, I think they'd be fine with that too. But I think that they do what they got to do to be in a relationship, because I think it takes listening to those things to have the healthy balance and support that you need from your partner.
So I think that a lot of men out there don't have a voice. I think there are things that men want, need, and sometimes they're just not even, you can't even put them on the table. They're not even a topic of discussion.
Do they leave because they can't get it, since our topic is stay or go? And please tell us what some of those things are.
So, I mean, I can't speak for men. I would love for
you can speak for Jay.
Tell us.
And some of us that are watching can give us some context about what Jay may be talking about, but we can start with Jay.
So, as far as
what the message that men want to get out, but they don't.
So of
what
course,
they need.
one easy one is monogamy. it's always a thing of you're cheating if you have sex with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even discussed. It's not even approachable to discuss it in a way of let's sit down and talk about some terms about it. Again, I mean, I know a lot of men, we look at it differently than women, you know? And just that is something that's never even discussed in any way, shape, form of, you know.
So let's just be clear, because you said monogamy, but are you really saying polygamy? Because you said let's talk monogamy.
Well, again, whatever
So
the terms could be something like I
Because
saw
you
a
said
funny
cheating.
Larry David episode where it was a 10th anniversary. For a 10th anniversary, one time I want to go and do XYZ.
And if they communicated
But
it, and that
I'm
was the
saying with a lot
relationship
of people, that's not even enough. But
I
again,
think that goes into communication, though, because I think that people, first, I hope that people are writing their own rules for their relationships.
who is like just like what you were saying about having expectations and you were assuming. Like people don't sit down and talk about how to engage. They don't talk about rules of the relationship. They assume. Everybody assumes. Like you and I were talking the other day, and you know, I was saying that again. When did you ever in any relationship sit down and say, "Hey, these are the things I want in a relationship. These things. So what about this scenario? What if this happens? What are we gonna do with this? Well, we're gonna do this with this." Like no one ever does that. No one sits down and discusses it.
I think you do for certain areas that you think
when
are
there's
important.
a problem.
No. Because I know I definitely have not in every relationship. Like I said, in that part, we may not have talked about the rules of cleaning the house, but we definitely talked about the rules of the financial situation. We definitely talked about what our expectations are, what we were going to bring to the table. You know what I mean? So that wasn't an issue.
Oh, okay.
So I think that.
So the things y'all did talk about, there were no issues with.
I mean, I'm sure there were challenges at certain points, but they weren't issues. Like that wasn't the breaking point in the relationship. You get what I'm saying? Like that wasn't the
Right.
issue that made the relationship like I'm over it or to stay or go. But
Okay.
I think that go ahead. What were you going to say?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
We're done. So one of the comments is, are men choosing to initiate the discussion if women do not?
No, men.
So that's a problem.
So that's okay.
It is. No, it is.
That's fair.
Again, men need to have a voice. Not saying that women are gonna agree, but have a voice. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So that's what I'm saying. So when I think of relationships 2021, and you're saying that we have these expectations, or we don't voice these expectations, or we don't sit down and talk, I think that like when you said or what broke that relationship, from that I have learned, and I do think that people do talk. It's just a matter of what we are talking about, and sometimes you talk about it later because it comes up. Like if you had a past relationship and you had these issues in a relationship, more than likely you learn from that relationship, and when you're entering a new relationship, those are the things that's top of mind to discuss, right? Those are the issues that you would be setting the rules of engagement for. So you don't cover everything sometimes, but as you get older and you have more experiences, then you do have more communication. And yes, the man's voice should be heard too. I don't know why you think that men are not speaking when. Go ahead.
We might have a question.
So,
over there.
yeah, we
We got
do.
a hot question over
So
there.
one of the things. So in your experience, Jay, since we're talking about men communicating
that's a
and
question from the
yes,
asking me.
one of the I have a question based on the comment. So the comment is, I think that women don't create the environment for men to speak their mind.
I agree.
In your experience,
I agree.
has that been the case?
Definitely.
Because you're a communicator. Let's
I'm
be
a
clear.
communicator.
You're not the guy who was not
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah.
So
I got too
because
much
you're a
to say.
different kind of guy,
Mhm.
do you still find that is the case for you?
So let me go back and just and talk about like similar to Ayanna, the way I approach. So I don't do it either. I don't sit down and have a chart out and map everything out before. A lot of times I wing it too. But I think the only difference is that the awareness, my awareness of self, my awareness of who I am, my awareness of my behavior in a relationship, these things contribute to me seeing things early. And if I see something that I feel like this is something that we can improve on, I'm going to speak on it in that moment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is I'm always constantly evaluating myself in a relationship, my relationship. So it's like a constant monitoring. Where we at? What's the health? What's the temperature? Oh, we got some over there.
So
MGZ.
So how does that evaluation look like coming from you to your partner? The feedback that you have received about these evaluations.
So at one time, it wasn't too favorable because it came with some criticism. You know what I'm saying? My programming, the way I grew up, caused me to be very critical of other things and other people. So, you know, now I've learned to, again, live and let live, let people be. So, I allow things to flow. And to me, if they don't flow in the right direction, I choose to go in another direction if necessary.
So you've learned to evaluate without criticizing? Is that what I hear you saying?
Well, so the evaluation is more of, again, awareness or self-assessment. So it's not necessarily for my partner unless necessary. You know what I'm saying? It's for me. It's for me to, again, check myself first. That's what I think a lot of people don't do in relationships. Check yourself first. Like, before you start talking and pointing about what your partner doing, not doing. Again, they're a reflection of you. So there's something about you that you don't like in them, and you need to check yourself before you really wreck yourself.
What?
Oh my gosh. So B. Jones said, Jay, do you have a quarterly relationship review like at work?
Yes, yes. 3.0. If you go under 3.0, I put you on a performance plan. And if you don't perform, then, you got to go.
You gotta go?
You got to go. You can't stay here. You ain't got to go home.
I mean, so I think it's interesting that B. Jones mentioned quarterly review, right? Because doing reviews at work is where you get your expectations that your manager or whomever is telling you, look, this is what I'm expecting you to do. However you get there, but this is what I'm expecting you to do. So doing this expectations thing that we're agreeing that is needed, what do you guys feedback about what that expectation conversation, how does that look like?
Relationships then, like, really at 2021 again, what do relationships look like? Maybe we should be sitting and having these expectations and starting all relationships, whether they exist or are, entering into a new one. What are the same way you go for the beginning of the year? What are we looking to do in this relationship? Where are we going? What is the expectation? How do you perform when we are in the house operating, or who's going to cook, or who's going to?
How soon does that happen?
So could I interject?
I'm just saying, you talking about the whole
the expectations conversation.
Setting the expectations.
Yes.
But if people took more time to really set expectations and have those conversations about the things that are important to them early on in the relationship, you could know whether they're going to fulfill what you want or not. Because if you're talking about cheating or not cheating, or if you go into a relationship, hey, I want an open relationship, or this is me and you, or I'm only really wanting someone I see on occasion, or I want to spend a lot of time with you. If you know that from the beginning, then you have that expectation, right?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
You get what I'm saying? Okay. You are building
That's
the
what
expectation.
I was sitting there like, wait, we gotta get to first.
No.
What kind? It's almost like
how much
imagine you filling out an application. What type of relationship would you like to engage in? Partial, full, part-time.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Casual.
Like, we never talk about any of that stuff.
How?
It's almost like it's only what, two types, Democrat and Republican. It's only a full relationship towards marriage or a jump
And
off
I
situation.
said
Like
that everyone needs to write their own rules for their relationships, and that is every relationship. There is no relationship that is the same. You had one relationship with your ex, you have a totally different relationship with this person. People have different personalities, people bring different things to the table. Every relationship is unique. What you want in one relationship at that time may be something different you want at a different time. You grow and you change. You get experiences from your past relationships, and you decide what you want or what you're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, what is acceptable or what is not acceptable.
So one thing that I've learned is that in relationships, I look for what I can give. Like, you know, I look for what I can give instead of what I can get from a relationship.
That's a beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? I learned that I get a different response when my motivation is what can I give to a relationship? Give my attention, give my time, give my emotions, give my efforts, give my openness to try new things. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I think that a lot of us look for what we can get. What you gonna do for me? Like, what can you do for me? And I think that's a selfish, egotistical way to look at relationships, and to me, it usually results in.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Yeah.
You gotta learn to find out what can you give. Because how many people, when you ask a person what happened in a relationship, you never hear them say, yo, well, I was not at a maturity level yet. There were some things about me that contributed to.
I think we all contribute. Everyone, I mean.
Oh, we don't say that. We don't express that. We don't take accountability. Most of us don't. I don't, in my opinion. You
don't think so? I mean, I don't know.
Ask the average person. Ask the average person what happened in that relationship. They're going to talk about the other person.
No, I mean, I think because I have good relationships with a lot of my good friends, right? And I know that the relationships, at least in my communication with my friends, we have those conversations. The people I'm in my circle, they are definitely self-aware and able to analyze. I mean, I don't know if it's because I have great friends who are. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Monica, you're a friend. Like, do you think that we have? I mean, we have conversations where we definitely look at ourselves and. I mean, you know.
So, I mean, I have friends that are self-aware and some that are not. You're one of them that are self-aware. Joanne is one that is self-aware.
So I guess that's why it's hard for me to not. Yeah. Like everyone is not the same, but I just think that self-awareness is important. Like everything starts with you. Like I mean, your day in the morning is decided by you. You wake up and you can decide whether you're going to have a good day or a bad day. You know what I mean?
But how many of us stay on that track throughout the day? So you can think about it in the morning. But as things happen to you throughout your day, do you keep that track and know that everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to? Even the stuff you don't like.
I mean, it may not. And of course, we may fall off track, but it's still about.
So when you're trying to decide whether you're going to be in this relationship, whether you're going to stay in it or go, if you're self-aware, sounds like you don't stay long. Is that true?
I think that depends, because I know I've stayed way too long. I think it's the emotional tie. I think it depends on that emotional tie. You know.
I don't think I've been in a relationship where I stayed too long.
So we have two different things.
I mean, my longest. Yeah, no. I mean. Yeah, no, I don't think I've stayed. I think I could have probably stayed a little bit longer.
Yeah, so I mean, I could share my reasons for staying. They were because I believed in the relationship. I believed in change. I believed in the ability for us to change. But it just never materialized.
Right.
And when it got to a certain point, it was almost like, and I tell my daughters this, you gotta get to the point when you know someone's character. You know what I'm saying? What is this person even capable of?
Right.
You know, so like when you said awareness, I think there are levels of awareness. You know, when you have that emotional intelligence to be able to look at somebody's character and say, you know, can this person truly change? Does this person want change? Does this person have or do they have something that's blocking their change?
Right.
And they're willing to resolve that and heal that.
So you believe that your partner at the time had the capability to grow and change, and you found out that maybe not
just
so much.
Too much time. When it,
right.
Again, like I said, when it gets to the point where you're almost always arguing, and the content of what you're arguing about.
So that's funny. I think that when you're saying this, like now this is going into my belief in marriage or to me, I've never been married, so who am I to speak? But I think if you get married, I think that is a commitment when you definitely stay longer than.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're not married, if you're single, if you're in a relationship with someone and you're not married and you're arguing too much and it's a lot of problems and it's a lot of challenges and it's just too much. Yeah, I think that maybe you shouldn't be together if it's that bad. You know what I'm saying? But if you're married, if you get married, I feel like work it out, buttercups. Like just keep on trying, because if you fell in love enough to marry this person, then you, in my opinion, I'm not married, like who am I? But I just feel like that's another level of commitment. Like give it your all. If you fell in love,
isn't marriage just a legal?
Yeah, but to me, it's a higher level of commitment. I'm just saying it is legal, it is whatever, but it's a level of commitment. Other than that,
Well, aren't they all just mentalities?
It can be, but it's a mentality easy to walk away when we ain't bounded by a bunch of unnecessary paperwork.
To me, whether you're married, unmarried,
so you give the same level of energy.
Well, again, it depends on the mentality. I think it depends more on the mentality than what you call yourself.
No, definitely what you call yourself, but I'm just saying it is just the level of commitment that.
But again, what's commitment? Commitment is the both of you making an agreement, right? Mm-hmm. That's all it is. And that is a mentality. So when I do things, I'm going to do things in a way that shows my commitment to this thing we both agreed upon.
Right, but if you're in a relationship, no, you're right. But I'm just saying, if you're in a relationship and when things are good, everything's fine. But you're not married. You're in a relationship. Y'all are living together. Everything is awesome. It's however many years, right? Mm-hmm. Then the problems start, and they getting where you're arguing, whatever you said, right? And you're working, and then you're working on self, and that person's working. Whatever the growth is, whatever it is, and then finally, I think it is easier to say, I'm going to walk away from this if I'm not married. If you are married, and again, whether it's 20 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, if you are now married, you do have more of a hassle to go through to
legally.
Right, exactly. Which
That's
means legally. But it makes it that much harder, and it makes me say, let me try a little bit more. Let me work on self. Let me do a little bit more, because I made that commitment to marry you. So now I'm going to give it even more than I would, because now I can just like break this lease or whatever it is and move on. You know what I'm saying? Sell this house, whatever people tie themselves to. I don't know what they do.
So, Ayanna, you said you don't give people enough time.
I mean, I haven't sometimes. I feel like...
Why do you think so? You chose to stay, you chose to go versus to stay.
And this is growth and learning, right? Like, so, I mean, I don't even think we got enough show, because we need to be winding down.
We will be.
But
7 minutes.
But,
Less than 7.
I think it was, at the time, I was younger. I didn't have the maturity level to know that the communication wasn't there. I felt like if I had communicated more, if I was a little bit more patient, a little bit more tolerant, then I could have worked on the issues to improve the relationship. Mm-hmm. But because I wasn't married, and it was so easy, because if I was married, I probably would have stayed. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what I mean. If I was married, I would have worked harder, because I was stuck in it. I wasn't married, so I was like, I'm okay with it. But I do see now that I could have communicated better. I could have done things better to work on it. But again, the marriage wasn't there, right. So the bond to me was not enough to make me feel like...
What if he wanted to work with you?
At the time, I mean, again, I think it was the communication, right? I think it was maturity and communication. That is really what it boiled down to. Because yeah, if I knew he wanted to work with me, then we would have been communicating that. But that obviously wasn't the communication that was happening. So that was really the problem. But I've learned that communication is really important, and if you have that, then you can get through more things because you'll be able to express your needs, set your expectations, have understanding of, you know, just all the things that go into making a relationship healthy.
Cool.
So, do you think, knowing what you know, the tools that you have now and your older self is, especially since you self-reflect and grow from those experiences, you would do things differently with a lot more communication and setting expectations and
for sure,
those
like
kind of things?
you know, for sure, communications, expectations. Like I've learned everything. So I mean, I've learned so much from my relationships that I understand how important communication is to building a solid foundation of a relationship.
All right, well, we gave y'all a lot tonight.
We definitely did.
Definitely want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you for all the support. You know what I'm saying? As we go along, we're gonna have some interesting things going on. We got some good stuff in store for y'all. So like, follow, we got a YouTube page.
Drop us a note, tell us what you want to talk about.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely. We love your feedback. We love the interaction. Come join us, yo. Pull up a chair. Come chill with Gemini. So until next time, I am the GemStarr.
And I'm Ayanna.